Did you know that diesel engines have a minimum 500,000-mile lifespan? Why therefore do so many drivers find it difficult to achieve 100,000? I'll share 11 diesel secrets in this video that only the most seasoned drivers are aware of. Some of them operate like magic while defying common sense and even manufacturer advice. Don't stop watching because the last secret can save you $5,000 and it doesn't cost a thing. Secret number 11. Give the glow plug light some attention. Did you know that hurrying the start procedure might result in engine misfires and diminish the glow plug's lifespan? Furthermore, unburned gasoline is poured into the cylinder due to premature ignition. White smoke, difficult starts, and long-term cylinder wall damage might result from this. Because of this, novice diesel drivers have to pay thousands of dollars for repairs before they have driven 100,000 miles. So what ought one to do? Make sure the glow plug light goes out before starting your car every time you turn it on. It is difficult to overlook the glow plug light, which resembles a spring. Though not as effectively, it performs the same function as a spark plug in a gasoline engine. I advise riding twice in the cold before starting your engine. Thus, turn on the key, wait for the light to go out, turn off the car, and then do it again. By following this procedure, the chamber is guaranteed to be sufficiently heated for appropriate fuel ignition. Because it lowers emissions of raw diesel, starting your diesel engine correctly also helps the environment. Clean starts also prolong the life of your glow plug and ease the burden on your starter and battery. Between 80,000 and 100,000 miles is the typical lifespan of a glow plug. Experienced drivers, on the other hand, may go up to 200,000 miles and almost ever replace theirs before 150,000. Regretfully, most engines aren't even that durable. This is due to the fact that many drivers also overlook the next secret. The 10th secret: drive up instead of warming up. Everyone is aware that when diesel engines are at their ideal temperature, they operate at their optimum. What is the most effective approach to get there? Idling is not a good idea, despite what many drivers have been taught. All you're doing when you idle a diesel engine is burning gasoline, which releases nitrogen oxides and particulate particles into the atmosphere. Not to mention that the engine wears out faster since the unburned gasoline dilutes the engine oil. So how should a diesel engine be warmed up? First, recall the procedure we just covered for the glow plug. You are already squandering gasoline if you don't start the car and let it idle for 30 seconds. At last, begin driving, but keep your speed below 2,000 RPM until the engine temperature increases. A diesel engine should never be floored until it is warm. Your turbocharger will be destroyed by this, requiring costly repairs that will cost thousands of dollars. Proper engine warming will guarantee that oil gets to the important parts more quickly. Additionally, you'll cut down on exhaust smoke, unburned fuel deposits, and cylinder wash. To be honest, the gasoline savings alone make it worthwhile. This is a startling reality. 1 gallon of fuel is used every hour when idling. That is a hefty price to pay for being foolish. What's even more stupid than revving your engine too fast, though? The 9th secret is the following advice: don't ever let it run empty. Compared to gasoline, diesel fuel is more fickle. Water, wax, particles, and germs may readily contaminate it. Diesel fuel tanks contain a lot of debris at the bottom because of this. Therefore, all of that silt and sludge is drawn into the fuel pump once you're almost empty. This can eventually block the fuel injectors and filters, in addition to harming the pump. For this reason, as soon as your tank is at least a quarter full, you should always fill it up. Half a tank is suggested by some other mechanics. However, this is excessive. The gasoline pump is the most important item to safeguard. The petrol pump won't get adequate lubrication if you consistently run your tank at or below 1/8. It won't be an issue to do this once or twice every few months. However, if you do it often, the fuel pump may overheat and you will have to replace it. The price range for this might be $700 to $1,500. You're doing something incorrectly if you need to replace your fuel pump before 100,000 miles. Condensation in the tank is another issue when the tank is almost empty. Diesel doesn't produce a high-pressure vapor that can displace air as gasoline does. As a result, water vapor condenses on the tank wall and contaminates the diesel when the tank temperature changes. Fuel systems are harmed by rust, corrosion, and microbial growth caused by tank water. I should also mention that if the tank is less than a quarter, certain cars won't do a DPF region. However, more on that later. Use winterized diesel fuel in cold weather and attempt to maintain your tank as full as possible for best results. Your engine will be ruined in a few years if you are a procrastinating pumper, but this next one won't wait that long. The 8th secret: take your time with the turbo cooldown procedure. You may not enjoy this hot take. Turbochargers should never be purchased by novice drivers. They are really sensitive, even if they are a lot of fun. Although turbochargers have significantly improved over the last several decades, they still degrade rapidly. For instance, turning off a turbo right after driving may cause the turbo bearings to get overheated. This is due to the fact that turbo manifolds have a maximum temperature of 1,100 degrees Fahrenheit. Lava is hotter than that. The oil will assist in dissipating that extra heat while the car is operating, but when you switch it off, the oil burns or coaks onto the bearings. The turbocharger's air and oil flow is restricted by this carbon buildup, leading to an early failure. A turbo's replacement is also expensive. If you're fortunate, a replacement will cost you between $2,000 and $4,000. Therefore, wait 1 to 3 minutes before turning off the engine anytime you are driving under load, such as after towing. This will provide the coolant and oil adequate time to dissipate any surplus heat. There are 2 more steps you must do if you are serious about safeguarding your turbocharger. The second is up next, but the first we'll talk about much later. The 7th secret: avoid dozing off when using diesel additives. For good reason, fuel additives have a bad reputation. However, diesel engines work differently from gasoline engines, where the majority of so-called additives are snake oil, or hardly beneficial. To begin with, diesel additives are required. Some of the lubricating qualities of diesel are lost during the production of ultra-low sulfur diesels. ULSD has been shown to result in 520-micron wear scars in standardized testing. This implies that your engine will wear down far more quickly if you don't use an anti-friction additive. You should use premium fuel for each fill-up, at the absolute least. The additional additives reduce water and particle pollution, enhance lubrication, and stop deposits, among many other benefits. Use an additive such as Hot Shot's Secret Daily Diesel Treatment if you are unable to get premium diesel. Cetawalpain is added by this product in addition to better lubrication. Even top-tier diesel from most pumps doesn't give nearly enough cetawal. You require diesel winter anti-gel in the winter. Never use your car without a diesel engine, since it freezes easily and might be difficult to start in the winter. You may increase your fuel efficiency by up to 10% by consistently using diesel additives. Accordingly, you might save up to $500 annually by using additives. Don't tinker with the incorrect ones, however, or you risk having a damaged engine. The 6th secret is to clean or replace the turbo intercooler on a regular basis. Has your car started making noises like whistling or hissing? Have you seen slow or unsatisfactory acceleration? Or is there more smoke coming from your car than normal? If so, your intercooler may be filthy. Luckily for you, the most concerning symptoms have not yet appeared. Cooling the hot air entering the engine is a major function of the turbo intercooler. By ensuring that more oxygen enters the engine, this cooling process enhances combustion and engine performance. However, the intercooler becomes soiled with time. Road debris and oil mist may infiltrate and jam it. This lowers power production by up to 20% by raising the intake air temperature by up to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The turbocharger will thus start to experience strain and, if this persists, finally fail. Clean the turbo intercooler every 30,000 miles or as soon as there are any indications of difficulty to avoid this. One man entered my store, and there was grease all over his intercooler. Before 96,000 miles, he failed to discover that the PC valve had failed. Although cleaning an intercooler is simple, if you wait too long you may need to replace it. A replacement may cost up to $4,000, while cleaning might cost several $100s. Your turbo will be saved by a clean intercooler, but your engine will be saved by cleaning the following component. The 5th secret is to change or clean the unclean air filters right away. Did you know that compared to gasoline engines, diesel engines depend more on air filters? Diesel engines need a lot more air since they use compression ignition rather than spark plugs. Because of this, diesel engines need an extremely low air-fuel ratio, ranging from 25 to 40 to 1. However, gasoline-powered motors only need 12 to 1 to 15 to 1. This implies that you must use air filters religiously if you want your car to achieve 1,000,000 miles. It also implies that you may need to disregard any absurdity in your handbook. Replace the air filters every 12,000 to 15,000 miles, the automaker may advise, but only if you drive under ideal circumstances. You should replace it more often if you drive on gravel roads, live in a location with a lot of dust, or spend a lot of time in traffic. This is my rule. Avoid waiting for it to get too filthy. Remove it every 3 to 6 months to remove any more dirt. Use an air compressor to get the greatest results. However, replace the filter if, even after cleaning it, you continue to notice black smoke, decreased fuel efficiency, and odd sounds. Even if it seems clean, you should replace the filter maximum once a year or every 12,000 miles. A blown turbocharger is 100 times more expensive than a filter, which is about $30. The 4th secret is to get your gasoline system cleaned by a professional every 30,000 miles. Sight is the worst thing about diesel engines. Fuel lines, rails, and injectors may quickly accumulate carbon deposits, varnish, and sludge. This is why filthy diesel fuel systems account for 60% of power loss complaints and fuel injector failures. And by the time it deteriorates to this point, repairs would likely cost more than $2,000. Regretfully, there is no inexpensive solution to this issue. Every 30,000 miles, you should get your diesel engine professionally cleaned if you want it to last for decades. This might start at $100 for a thorough clean with additives, to $500 for gasoline polishing. Cleaning a fuel system may possibly cost $1,000. It's not cheap, but it's worth it. Up to 15% may be saved on fuel alone. Therefore, a thorough clean may save you $750 if your annual fuel expenditure is $5,000 on average. Additionally, it will stop turbocharger injectors, cylinders, and much more from wearing down too soon. Make sure to follow these 3 steps if you want to lower the expense of cleaning your fuel system. The third secret is to keep an eye on the regeneration cycles of diesel particulate filters. Drivers who disregard dashboard warning signals range from 22% to 46%. In a gasoline-powered car, you may get away with it. But in a diesel, the danger is too great. You can't afford to disregard this light. Is the regeneration light for DPF. With dots within, the DPF warning light resembles an exhaust. It indicates that there is soot accumulation in the DPF that has to be burnt out when that light turns on. Until the car has finished either an active or passive DPF regeneration, you must continue to drive. You will ultimately require a new DPF, since there will be too much soot if you stop driving before the regeneration cycle is finished. A DPF should last at least 100,000 miles if you drive carefully. And believe me, because they are really expensive, you want it to last as long as possible. The cost of a replacement might reach $2,500. Nevertheless, a block DPF might reduce fuel efficiency and put stress on the engine and turbocharger. To put it another way, neglecting DPF regeneration might result in the need to rebuild your engine. Our top secret is one approach to extend the life of your DPF. Some contend that this is the worst thing you can do to a diesel engine before that. The second secret. Diesel oil should be changed according to soot load rather than merely mileage. Did you know that a diesel engine may go over its soot capacity in less than 3,000 miles while driving in an urban area? This implies that you run the risk of losing your engine too soon if you replace the oil according to the manual's recommendations. The majority of dealers and manuals advise changing the oil every 7,500 to 10,000 miles, as much as 15,000 miles according to some. That is not the severe service schedule, however. That is the usual service schedule. Heavy hauling, stop-and-go traffic, brief spurts, and a lot of city driving are not considered routine. This implies that you should replace your oil, yes, synthetic oil, every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. You should replace the oil at a maximum of 5,000 miles even if it seems to be in good condition. The reason for this is because diesel soot causes the oil to become thicker than usual. Consequently, your cams and bearings will be harmed and the oil will not lubricate as it should. So replace the oil often to avoid having to pay $5,000 for repairs. The first secret. Drive it as if you were the owner. You cannot afford to treat your diesel engine like a baby if you want it to reach 500,000 miles. Higher temperatures are ideal for diesel engines. This implies that your engine will begin to wear down before 100,000 miles if you just use it for short excursions or drive at a walking pace. Low RPM driving stresses the turbocharger, jams the DPF, and increases carbon accumulation. You will get a complete engine overhaul as a reward for your careful driving. Diesel cars, on the other hand, need to be driven between 1,500 and 2,500 RPM. This occurs when you spend at least 20 minutes driving at 70 miles per hour. Soot and carbon deposits are burned off during this procedure, which is great for DPF regeneration. Additionally, it clears carbon buildup from the EGR valve and fuel injectors. You won't have to shell out thousands of dollars for a new engine, despite the fact that you will consume a little more petrol. You can keep your diesel car out of service shops and on the road for decades if you know these 11 tips. You'll be okay as long as you use high-quality fluids and filters, are proactive with maintenance, and pay close attention.